So I'm really excited. I've said that every time, but I am really excited. I'm excited to welcome Blaise to the call today, because even beside the fact that you are one of the referral partners, we've been friends now for a really long time, and
Indeed.
just watching each other, supporting each other to grow in that friendship has been fab. So kind of bringing you into the tribe like this is such a gift, and I'm so excited to share not only this session, but you come popping up again soon. so Blaise, welcome
Thank
to the
you
Took
very
the Balance
much.
tribe.
I appreciate it.
Tell us, before we delve into all the work that you do to support mankind, that's making it kind of quite big, yeah.
No pressure.
Yeah, exactly. Tell us a little bit about Blaise, the human being. That's a deep question for you, I appreciate, but like, who's Blaise?
In simple terms, who am I? I am B. I am the realist representation of my spirit's manifestation in the flesh. Now, to take the quantum out of it, part of what I do is exploring human potential, exploring my human potential in the most authentic way possible, and impossible. And what that looks like in terms of things that I do, I work to reorder bodies, reinvigorate lives, and I write rhymes. I find there is a magic and a resonance in spells and words. That's the reason we spell words. And I am a huge believer in yeah, communication, authenticity. My background has been within events, hospitality, worked in the music industry, and also in well-being as a structural integration practitioner, a Reiki master, and a space holder and men's group facilitator. And that's why we find ourselves here. That is probably the expedited process of what makes me me. But I have a philosophy that, like, as human beings, like, it's very difficult to say when oneself, because self is a sense of source, energy, life force. And there are so many human beings that know elements, mirror reflections of self, but us as human beings are always becoming ourself. So you get the most accurate and realist representation of me in this moment today. So
I love that. I love that you are you right here, right now. You're this culmination of everything that's been, but also ready for everything that is to come. But you're absolutely 100%, you're getting me here and now. You're
realist
present,
talk.
you're attentive, you're interested, you're enthusiastic, you're passionate. And I've seen that interest, enthusiasm, and passion come out whether you're talking about your music, whether you're talking about the events industry, whether you're talking to Adam about what goes in the latest cocktail and which gin or which vodka you should be using. Just every element of life, you epitomize to me the enthusiast.
Thank
But
you. I
not just
appreciate
the
that.
no, not enthusiast, the why, tell me more. Like, you really want to draw things out, and I believe that's one of the things that you bring to everything that you do. You help people, you hold the space for them so that they can do that too. You create that safety,
I
which is a
appreciate
gift,
that.
man, an
I
absolute
really,
gift.
really
So
appreciate that.
you can
Playful curiosity.
yeah. You talked about the fact that we're here today to talk about mental health, to talk about men's health in particular. But what in amongst all of those things that you do, some of which have been a very kind of manly male environment, I guess, and others have been creative male environment, what brought you to a place where supporting men's health is something that you are this passionate about? You're a leader, you're a facilitator in that field. How did you get from like mixing cocktails and making music to this?
That's a really interesting frame and context. And before I answer that, I would just like to honor and thank you as well, for the kind words. And also, there's an element of a huge element of mirroring, because that level of playful curiosity, the way that you communicate, you've been a very influential part in my growth. And I would just like to take a moment to honor that as we have yeah, started this journey. But in terms of when you framed it like that, it's actually really interesting, because what I was originally going to say to what feels pertinent to share now are two different things.
Okay, go with it.
So, cocktails, being in a bar environment, I love to have conversations, and I like to this sense of playful curiosity throughout school, throughout all sorts of journey. Like I would always ask the question why, not necessarily because I wanted to know the answer, because I wanted to find out more that would allow me to think in a different way or to contemplate in a different way. And from cocktails and just in general, like when someone walks into a bar, you're not just like, there are human beings that will serve you a drink, and that'll be it. Cool, daters. How many pints? Couple of shots. Cool. The way that I looked at it, especially if it was quiet, like I'd want to have a conversation with people. A, because it passes my time, and B, I'll probably learn some stuff. Like I remember way back before all of these cloud systems were, something part of our everyday life. I remember a Thursday night where a guy came into a bar. He was telling me a story about this guy had employed him because he had hacked his system. Young kid, only 18. I checked ID for the avoidance of doubt. And he was talking about, yeah, he said about, oh yeah, I'm working with this guy to develop a cloud system so you be anywhere and access information. I was like, cool, bro. Like, tell me more. Like, I'm really intrigued, but off the top of the head, it was not something that I'd really paid much mind to, or interesting integrations about furniture, or it's basically whenever like there is space to have that conversation, to be across the bar from someone, like when you're serving drinks or cocktails or whatever, you're not just a barman, bartender, bar person, bar human, mixologist or whatever. Like you're also a flipping counselor, to be perfectly real. That's what it feels like. I would know what so and so's having for a drink, situations going on with his wife, or girls coming in saying about their partner, or people on dates, and watching the body language and the human interaction fascinates the shit out of me.
Me too, brother. Like
Because
that.
and it's that same question of like, where BC before Corona, where you may have sat in a coffee shop and watched the world go by, and like I
Those
created
days.
conversations. Exactly, they're a little bit different because it makes it harder to lip read when you're out and about now for a lot of human beings. But we roll with it. You can still see levels of human interaction in a whole different spectrum. But we'll get back. We'll come back to that another time. But it was always a case of when having those conversations across the bar, or people would come in, for all I know, that's the first conversation they've had all day. And for like a lot of people in that environment, like are people any customer service based role, a lot of human beings are quick to criticize. Oh, they did this, they did that. But I've wanted to flip that on its head and be like, I would like to be quick to compliment. If I find something in that, maybe where I've been behind the bar or on the opposite way of like, for all I know, that if I've seen something that I appreciate, a guy's scarf or his girl's dress, oh, that's amazing. Like, I really appreciate that. For all I know, that could spark joy in someone's entire day. And that makes their day better, their approach to me better. We have a better interaction, and that makes the anywhere from 8 to 21 hour days, whether it's in events or whatnot, a lot more pleasant for us all.
Yeah.
Like
So even right then, understanding the power of connection and conversation is something that you've brought forward with you.
Yeah, which I didn't realize until you asked that question. Yeah, it was always a lot of time of like, I like to like, as I said, bridging connection, and I've it was re-emphasized and remembered or reinvigorated within myself with network marketing. But where I feel now, I'm in a place of mycelium marketing. Instead of many pockets of networks, we are one network that's expanding out and growing.
I hear the word mycelium and I get it. The microbiologist in me is loving that.
Yes,
You dropped it in there.
100%. I'm a fun guy. What can I say?
Could you?
um, so this sense of being able to have that conversation or bridging wonderful connections with people. Also, conversation has landed me in incredible places, like sometimes on boats on private islands, or to job roles that I didn't recognize, like an introduction into like the music industry through conversation. And to be perfectly honest, even within that space, music, a lot of music is catharsis to artists. You're hearing their joy, their pain, their everything in
Yeah.
between. And then the flip side of that, as a culmination, like as I said, I've always had an insight into energy as a kid. Like from a quantum perspective, I could see auras around people, which I thought 7, 8. I thought I was losing my shit. Like I was like, oh, is this a bit weird? But then this person's got a bit of an orangey glow or a yellow glow around them. How do I explain this to people? And sort of like not played it off, but allowed it to have its space on my spiritual journey,
Mm.
or would have levels of intuition where I gave it the space to be able to, okay, cool, like this is something I feel may resonate with someone, may not. I maybe look like a bit of a weirdo, but I learned to lean into that weirdness, because even that, the etymology of the word, which is I believe a Latin root, was spelled WYRD, which means one who controls their own destiny.
Wow.
So in the sense of that weirdness and
Embrace that
moving,
weirdness.
100%, 100%.
So bearing all that in mind, that sort of spiritual connection that you had, that energetic sensitivity, that passion for and belief in the power of communication, the value you hold in connection, that, would you say that makes you quite unusual in a man space? How did you, where did you find your place to really get comfortable
Hmm.
with the path that you had found yourself on, and the passion that you have for all of those things?
From starting to get more comfortable with being uncomfortable. So as a segue from uh, bar industry, hospitality, working in marketing and music, the common theme with that is how men would display their emotions, how there was a sense of either a power over things, or where there was honest communication, and those people really made a strong impact for me where that was available. And then also the nature of where getting to a point, even myself, where I lost my shit, not lost my shit, but felt like I'd lost the sense of who I was. Like the rat race of getting up, waking up, going to a job that I hate by some assholes who didn't necessarily appreciate me, and then kind of feeling like, oh, there's like there has to be more to life than this.
Yeah,
Like
who the
what
frick
can
am
I
I and what am I doing? Yeah.
exactly? And then being made redundant 3 times in a row from both from like the music industry and also within the marketing sector, I was kind of like, to be blunt, what the fuck is this? What's the point? What's the purpose? Who am I? What am I meant here to do? Am I supposed to make music? Am I supposed to help people? If I'm supposed to do so, why isn't this happening? And it was a lot of like soul searching within myself. And I found that because friends, I'd be that same friend for a lot of human beings where, oh, he's a bit weird, isn't he? Like he's a bit spiritual. But then when people are going through a process, who's that spiritual one that they're calling? And I'll
Yeah.
happily welcome that in when I can hold the space and also know when to be boundary, to be like, bro, like, or sister, I can't, like, I don't have the capacity for this right now. And it also comes from a space of like being vulnerable enough at points where I'm actually really truthful with what is burning in me, and having a sense of witnessing. If I'm angry, okay, let me feel that anger. I don't always have to act in an angry way. As a kid, I'd like my mom would be a testament to telling you about how many times my hands went through doors and elbows and things got broken, because I recognize I have like I have a deep-seated fire and warrior spirit in me. When a warrior is required, it can come out.
Mm.
When it doesn't need to happen, then it won't. I have a philosophy that I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a wall, but also to be able to appreciate the beauty of both sides.
Both.
Um, so it's recognizing that um, that within, I suppose, especially from the music side of things, or even in both elements, the only time or a very small selection of time where I'd have deep-seated, actual heartfelt communication with, especially men, was if they were like drunk. And it's like, okay, well, you're telling me your entire life story. You're gonna remember this in the morning. Like, I'll help and happy and support you, but then it's a real cry for help. But then with someone, I'd approach it like it was very, very difficult to be able to have a level of communication. Granted, there are a few brothers that I could probably, well, now I can count more on hands, because I've created that space.
Mm.
But it was very far and few between, and I felt that there was a lack of being able to fully speak about how I felt, what was present. And then that arrived or came into my life through the opportunity of Calm, like campaign against living miserably, through a label that I was working with. And when I was hearing the statistics about male suicide and all sorts, it deeply, deeply affected me. And part of the thing that we did, which I think it was quite a while now, we did a free hugs campaign at the Rivington Street Festival in East London, and we were just giving people hugs and seeing that
It
that
seems so
level of
far away now, doesn't it? That kind of life.
trust, and it's a basic human need. This level of connection.
Connection.
So it's from for just to simply arrive at a point. It came to me being aware of what I felt I was missing, the embodied masculine presence around. Because with some of the man them, it was a case of, all right, cool, I'd feel some type of way, and like, oh yeah, man up, man up, man up, man up.
Yeah.
That can be one of the most destructive and empowering words, depending on the intention behind it. Um, and having a support structure around where you can be able to like to step into a level of masculinity. And 9 times out of 10, like, I didn't know what my definition of a man actually was until a few years ago.
Yeah.
That's a question I had to ask myself, like, what I see different types of men, and what the stoic man are really compassionate, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what is that? And in order for me to find a definition, it comes from a level of what's my truth. And my truth in any moment can change. I'm completely open to unlearn everything,
Yeah.
because as a human being, we grow and we change. But the level of seeking a place where, like, I could be met with a place of free from judgment, witnessing, and just be listened to.
And
Because
was it a physical place that you found that? Because I remember that time in life where there were so many opportunities, so many doors open to you. It was almost too much. Am I this? Am I that? Am I what? As you say, you lost that sense of self. So was it a time that you can pinpoint? Was it a physical space? Was it something that happened to you that suddenly
I
opened this world up to you?
I feel part of the start of that journey was this whole culmination of getting into like deepening a spiritual practice and being in like sacred spaces and understanding a sacred space, what that means. Um, and even down to yeah, like when I started my Reiki journey, in the whole sequence of events from Reiki to, in the same week that I got initiated, I'd had a friend of mine call up and speak to you about crystals. Who previously, whenever I mentioned anything spiritual, he was kind of like, "Shut up, bruv." So he called me. I'd done a process at a South American like cleanse called a Cambo cleanse, and being in that sacred space where like you purge a lot from, yeah, from the body, and like in that space where I was purging and being congratulated for purging, I was like, what? Like, I'm literally being sick right now and you're saying well done. Like, it feels a bit weird, a bit strange. Then to have that level of like people bringing all of their good, their bad, their ugly, and all encompassing, it really really helped. And I I feel like the beginning catalyst was probably mm, a level of yoga and um a level of yoga, and for myself to be able to communicate back through writing rhymes,
Mhm.
and to be able to a point where, like, through being able to communicate who I feel I am in this moment, then and giving that out, it was a reminder to be met by those other spaces. And truth be told, like, being in a ceremonial space, so it was probably not probably it was a specific place, and an environment of being witnessed free from judgment, to be able to be listened to be heard. And then if there was a circumstance where people could, like, people had like something they wanted to share back, um it was always a, are you open to me sharing something? Not like, are you, this is what you need to do, this is how you have to do it. No, it's an invitation. If you want to take it or leave it. So a lot of things around ceremonial space, finding what I felt was tribe, so I could be all parts of myself, or showcasing all parts of myself, and then being met. And even from like the spaces of the BPs and stuff that we had, where I could just be me and have communication, like, so it was a sense of a physical space,
Yeah.
and that started with me starting to connect to physical space and making physical space in myself.
And I know that for you, a big part of finding that space, finding that tribe, finding the right kind of male energy around you was partly through the own body work that you've done, partly through the own energetic work which you've done as a self practice,
Hmm.
as a practice with your partner Amy, as a practice with other amazing practitioners that you guys are connected with.
Hmm.
But also you've connected with a number of events, Menfest and that sort of thing, where you've really been able to connect, as you say, with every aspect of your masculinity, every part of your man, your inner man,
Hmm.
outer man, energetic
Yeah.
man, everything. But if people heard the sort of, opportunity, you've got this opportunity to go to this festival and it's about, the incredible male form, or, however you want to describe it, I would imagine, were there a lot of people, or would there be a lot of people that'd be like, what is that? Is that like men making fires, or is that
Truth,
like proper weird shit?
truth be told, like that, I welcome in all of that, because that was exactly me. And
Yeah.
like, for the lead up to that, there was Amy and I had done these aim to be communities, where the whole point was to bring people together, try, people could share what was on their mind, have a sense of a gift economy where you could share like the gifts and skills that you
Gifts
have,
and skills.
and especially like, yeah, microbiome and all sorts, that like that's, yeah, some amazing content that will be out soon. And the one of the founders of the women's festival, um came into the space. Amy went to the women's festival, she came back full powered feminine presence. I was like, I've just done a 21-hour night, I am tired and I've come to pick you up, I appreciate all of this, but let's just simmer down a little
Pipe
bit.
down.
It's like, simmer down. And I was told, like, from speaking to the founder, she was like, "Oh, we're doing a men's one next year. Like, you'll be involved in it." I was like, "Ah, yeah, amazing." Because I was like, I want some of that energy that came back with, and I didn't think anything of it. I was then introduced at an event, to the founder of Men First, Jay Jacoby, and I was introduced to him, and he was like, "Oh, here you go. Like this Jay, this is Blaise, this is Jay. Like, he's going to do the healing field for your festival." I was like, "Huh?
Oh, well.
What?" I was like, "Okay." But
So
through the
initially you were
recommendation,
there as a professional, you were there as a therapist and as a facilitator.
no, no, I was there to, well, yes, yes and no, yes and no. I was there to hold the space of this field. I didn't know what the fuck had like I didn't know what it was all about. Like I didn't have a clue. My first introduction to men's work. I'd been to a few other brothers' circles where we'd sat down, had a communication, and that was really cathartic just to be listened to, do a bit of movement, shake everything out, and then be like, okay, cool. And I'm going home. But like my first point was the name being real, Menfest. I was like, okay, like what does that bring up in me?
Straight away, you're like,
Yeah, because there was a like I fully welcome in and embrace like anyone's like preference, sexual preference, and all sorts. I was also well, I only found out when I arrived there is another predominantly like men focused in terms of sexual orientation um, festival called Man Fest, which is about the celebration of LGBTQ and everything encompassing.
mm-hmm.
And I was kind of like, okay, cool, like see that, recognize that. And then Manfest, I was like, I didn't know what it was going to be, how it was going to be involved. Also, festivals before, I've been to a few festivals, and fine, calm, love it, like. But to be in a field for like like the festival runs for 4 days, but I was there for maybe 8 or so. Was set up and closed down. Like, the hell am I gonna do in a field with 100 dudes, 100+ dudes for like 4 days? You mad? Like, are you crazy? This whole thing of like,
The FOMO had disappeared from Amy's event. You were like, okay,
yeah, I
maybe
was
I'm not
like,
so bothered.
so what the fuck is this? Like, what am I gonna do? What's gonna be there? And it's radical participation. So what that means is, if you've got a gift, a skill, anything you want to put on, you can. Like, it's a co-creative experience. It's not about, oh yeah, this person's on this pedestal and this person's on that pedestal. Like, this is the reason we sit in circle, because cultures have been doing this for years, years and years and years and years. And to be able to have a circle where we bounce off each other, like, is really, really powerful. And because of that level of resistance, I was like, well, even if I was telling like some brothers at the time, like, you're going to Menfest. I was like, yeah, I am. I was like, is it a gay thing? I was like, well, no. I was like, if you identify as male, you're welcome. Then what that looked like, in practical steps, we go through the days of like child, or yeah, child, um, the teen, adult, and elder, and working to explore those parts of yourself um, through Jungian archetypes of the lover, the warrior, the like the magician or wizard or sage, and the king, and understanding a sense of self sovereignty, and to be able to look into that part of oneself and what it looked like
Into
on a
those characteristics at different times when you need that energy. It's really powerful. The women's personas are same kind of powerful experience.
Excellent. I'm really intrigued, and that's not something I've looked into about the women's archetypes, but I feel that would be a very interesting and wonderful overlay as well.
So through that experience, and I know you can wax lyrical about that. We'll we'd be on for hours talking just about that, because it was such a powerful 8 days for you. The build up, the pressure that went along with that, the delivery of that, the expectations of that, and everything. But in that space, in that entire period of time, what did you learn about men? Big question. About their ability to communicate. Communication for you, you've already said, is you understood the power of communication, but what did being in that space teach you about the art and the behaviors linked with male communication?
That as all of those lovers, warriors, wizards, and kings, it's a place where you can lay down your weapons. Like, is there's a process where, yes, like there's a 100 odd dudes that will have elements of charges with people. They will get frustrated, but to do so in a way where you can explore that, because half of the time when you're triggered by someone, it's your own shit. Not half the time, pretty much all the time, it's your own shit.
Yeah.
So
in the real world, is it authentic communication? or do so
depends
many
on the
other things come into
definition.
play?
Yeah, there are multiple factors. To be able to strip away from having like a phone and this, that, and the other, to be able to like, especially with the workshops, to have the courage, actually, courage of communication,
Yeah.
to say, do you know what? Feeling shit right now. Like, leave me alone. Give me a few moments. Oh, okay, brother. Do you require any support? No, I'm all right. Cool. To be able to look to my right and to my left, have a brother's hand on my shoulder, and know this guy's got my back. It's, it's without a doubt, like so powerful and so prominent.
So
So,
actually, the silent communication and the power in silent communication, the power in brotherhood, the power in companionship,
mm,
not necessarily words.
mm-hmm,
Maybe, I've often wondered whether that is a huge difference between female communication and male communication, because female communication, that feminine energy, is very much about touch and sensitivity and gentleness, isn't it? So that's
mm,
almost, I guess, a given.
mm-hmm,
Women do like to talk things through, generally, very stereotypically speaking, I appreciate, but they generally do like to talk things through.
mm-hmm.
But to recognize that there is a power in the silent communication, the body language, the brotherhood, as you talk about, the hand on the back, the arm on, the hand on your
Mm-hmm.
shoulder, the nod, the
Yeah,
just presence, did it help you to understand how many ways men do communicate with each other?
100%. And one of the biggest insights is men want to be listened to. Ultimately, if we come to a space where we're like, this is going on, I feel a bit shit, I'm this, that, and the other, just want to be listened to.
Mm.
Sometimes it doesn't require a response, and that's part and parcel of the men's circles. Like, bring whatever you brought, let it out, and simply that fact of
Yeah, release.
letting it out, that is part of where the medicine starts.
It's
So,
interesting, isn't it? Because again, that male energy is the logic, the problem solver.
mm,
And it's interesting that moment when you feel that you need to reach out and ask for help, you're not necessarily looking for the problem solver. You're looking for the release. You're looking for someone to listen.
mhm,
That is so powerful, isn't it? It is so
1000%.
it is so huge. So how, yeah, so I guess they ask for support. That must have been enlightening, because it wasn't necessarily, Blaise, I'm coming to you for you to solve my problems, or the
Mhm,
people that are there facilitating the day, I want you to come and fix this for me.
mhm.
The asking is often just asking for the space and the ears and the energy to be held, I guess.
100%, because ultimately, like, to it's understanding, not under inner standing, to be correct. It's an inner standing of recognizing that as male and female, like, in our bodies, we have masculine and feminine energy.
Yeah.
There are parts to us where, yeah, like it, and in the space itself, we can unapologetically be men, do man shit, like build a fire, construct things, and also within in the space, it's a drug and alcohol free space. So you're there on a land where you're gonna communicate. You're present, fully present, and with the workshops, there are so many expert facilitators to be able to, as I said, like do charge processes and how to diffuse those triggers and how to be to be fully seen, especially with mirroring, where you embody these characteristics to be able to like all of those shitty parts of yourself and give them space because they too want to be loved and understand, understanding, recognizing, and having aware of all of those parts of a human being, of a man, make a man whole.
Yeah.
So that way you have the opportunity to view the whole man within that space.
And that's
Granted,
massively reassuring, isn't it? Because I think there would be those apprehensions about, oh, is it going to be a bit this, and is it going to be a bit that, or is it going to be a bit, there are as many who want the rah rah man stuff
mm,
as want the, I want to sit, I want to be by a fire, I just want someone to listen to me, and actually maybe I do want someone to hold me,
mm,
help me, advise me, guide me, do something on a deeper spiritual level maybe that moves me from where I am to where I want to be. So the fact that there's something for everybody in that environment is really reassuring. Do you find, did your perception of a group of men meeting and supporting each other, did it change then when you
100%.
went along?
100%.
And
Like,
how have you brought that? How have you taken that forward now into the work that you do? You know, that you've seen, you've experienced some incredible transformation, some, you know, not just self, but you've witnessed and you've taken part in some incredible transformations. How has that changed your passion and enthusiasm for what you offer now and what you want to be able to bring to other men around you?
to continue to lead with love, basically, because like before doing the men's work, yeah, I'd say like in a jovial fashion, usually after a few pints, oh mate, fucking love you, yeah. But like I can say to friends, brothers, like, do you know what? I love you, bro, and that comes from a deep seated space of love. There are so many different. There's only one word for love in the English language, but in something like Greek, this is I'm not sure of the exact amount, but say for example, there are 8. There's a brotherly love, a sisterly love, a love for family, etc. Because of the fact that English as a language is compared to something like, I don't know, like Mandarin. There are relatively few inflections to accurately depict the true nature of what one sense. So finding or exploring means to showcase that with people's, especially brothers that I have connection with and about, that to lead with love. Granted, I'm human. There are times where even leading with love comes from really harsh boundaries, and leading with love to say something like no,
Yeah.
and no in itself is a complete sentence.
Yeah.
So to know,
Amen.
like, so if there's points where, oh, can you do this for me? No, I really can't.
No, I can't.
Or but what I can do, if you require support and I'm not able to give you support, here are people that may be able to support you, and see who resonates with you. Do I have all the answers? No, I'm still asking better questions myself, and I'll always continue to ask questions. But it's changed the approach of knowing that deep down, a lot of the process that people go through is a process of love and self-love. So if I can explore ways on a human to human basis about what that love means to someone, that can be a listening ear, a conversation, the odd text here, a face to face, a Zoom meeting, and where I've been given that sense of abundance to be able to explore, then when I've called friends throughout all of this time of transition, be like, bro, how's what's going on? Like, how are you? And because there have been limited outlets for some brothers to be able to communicate, like, bro, my missus is pissing me off, this, that, and the other, I'm going through this. Like, cool, just sit and listen. And these little bits and pieces are like, if I've been in a space where I've been full, and given that nourishment, I then have filled my cup so I can nourish others.
Yeah.
So if I can provide, and how I provide the spaces for others to nourish themselves, like, it's always an invitation.
Yeah.
Like,
so you refer to these spaces and you refer to these opportunities and these moments where you connect with your brothers, and I know that you do that within a cultural environment as well, and you're really passionate about bridging those kind of cultural boundaries, and like no, we're not talking this is a cultural thing, we're talking this is a brotherhood, as in mankind kind of, you know, or menkind kind of thing. So how do you work with men now? What does that look like? You know, if a man is thinking, I need some of this, I need, this is what I need, this is what I've been craving, I don't know who I am, I feel disconnected from myself, I don't know what my purpose is anymore. You know, what's out there for them? How do you support other guys?
by like, if they want to, the invitation is there to book in a chat, book in a conversation. Like, there's means to do so on our website. My number's on the website. Like, literally, if a human being calls me and I see a call from a human being, I'll call them back. Messages can get lost and can track through bits and pieces, but I'll always say an invitation for a conversation such as this. Because if I can't facilitate it, or I don't have the capacity, I know people that do. It's a sense of this mycelium network to be able to bridge people out. But by having a conversation and just listening, Like I can't say there's not a one size fits all for everyone. But the one things I would in like initially or start from a point is some of the basics. Are you taking time to breathe consciously? Number one. Are you drinking water? Are you having some movement? And what are you feeding yourself? Like if as a baseline, let's start there, and then we can work. And yeah, having the courage, because it took me a long time to have the courage to be able to speak out, and where I may not have had the opportunities to be able to have those type of spaces, I had to reparent myself, or had to re yeah to regrow myself to be the human being, or to create the spaces that I wanted to see in the world. Part of that, like where sitting in circle is hugely impacted me. I want to see more people now that look like me sitting around those circles, because there's deep sense of ancestral trauma like, and it may be out of comfort zone. It was a comfort zone for me to like to yeah, it was weird as fuck, to be perfectly honest. Like, it's when I think back as to how it was, I was like, what am I going to do? How am I going to be? What, are people going to be fighting? Was there going to be a bare aggression? Also, no. And the biggest thing for me was seeing people with the anger, the pain, this, that, and the other, the human beings that started the weekend and the human beings that left, two different human beings.
So you're involved in so many, and you're asked to be involved in so many different things. Don't laugh it off, brother. It's huge, because people can see and feel that authenticity in you. So you are invited onto podcasts, you're interviewed, you talk about this in lots of different spaces and lots of different events. And I guess there's that value in picking up the phone and having that conversation with you, that you are also passionate and proud to be able to direct someone to the right starting point for their journey, hold their energy while they're on that journey, keep touching base with them while they're on that journey. But also, you are increasingly involved in these events, in your own learning along the way. And the incredible people that you've met, that it's forever an avenue to be able to direct people towards. So it is, you are like that initial signpost, you are like that initial, hold on to me, let's work out what this is, and then let's work out where we go with it.
100%. I've had to learn to be a bridge, and for a long time, when I had this initial perception of a bridge, I was like, do you know what? Like, if I wanted to be a bridge for this person, I've been walked all over. But now I recognize I'm a bridge to be able to support. Like, you can go from A to B, but I'm still standing. I'm strong. I'm continuing to build brick by brick. There are moments that I have to break down, and yeah, 100%. I had moments over the I suppose the first lockdown, where I did some rather profound like a good brother of mine was pioneering a style of coaching and got me into a state where he then asked me what my purpose was, and it really landed for me. Being in that state for like 6 weeks afterwards, I was feeling really, really fucking suicidal. And I had a recent reminder of that sense of like, why do I feel this, and what's my purpose? Am I supposed to live, and this, that, and the other? And part of the insight was that's an invitation for an ego death. Like, the part of what made me, that those last clingings of that person, like, nature is a fine representation of mirroring and letting things, like, there are moments where things need to drop off.
Shed.
And shed, exactly. And part of that ego death is knowing when to reach out, to a point where you like, even from those spaces, like, when the teacher is ready, the student will appear. And also, when you set that in intention, like, I want to change, I want to move forward, like, I don't want to be this, like, it's not all healing journey, it's not all sunshines, rainbows, and unicorn poop. Like, it's just thick, it's like
messy,
it's
snotty.
yeah. But after exactly, very snotty. But after you get to the other side, like go, and there's no way round it. Ultimately, the society that we bridge in is fact, oh, how can I go around this way, or what's the magic pill that you
We
can
even use the
like?
phrase, how can I get around this? You
Yeah,
can't, my love.
exactly.
Head
There's
down,
no
get
way
through.
round, only through. So yeah, like everyone's journey is different. I always say, I'll walk with you, I'll run with you, but we'll just take it a step at a time.
Yeah. So what exciting thing, and I know that this is one strand of
Yes.
B, never mind one of the many strands of aim to be the beautiful community that you and Amy have together. So what exciting things are coming up for you over the next 12 months, as I was going to say, as life gets back to normal?
Yeah. So in terms of myself as a human being, I'm gonna have in the musical incarnations or embodiment, shall we say. There'll be a lot of spoken word poetry coming. I've got a video shoot next week for an activation for a Bristol platform called Bristol Talents. So that would be me like lyrically exercising some skill, shall we say. As of the 21st to the 24th, I'm involved in online workshopping for a project called The Great United, which is about using nature, creativity, arts, and mindfulness to affect change in local communities on a global scale. And I suppose, on a not more practical, but on a weekly offerings basis, so to speak. Sundays, most Sundays, depending on yeah, on some scheduling, but most Sundays, nearly every Sunday between 5 and 6:30, there's a free mental health check-ins, which it's always an invitation to be present with whatever has arrived for you in the week, have a space to be listened to, and we have a little discussion point that changes on a weekly basis. And then this year, because we've now been told we can go ahead, will be Menfest 2021 from the second week of August. I believe it's the 12th to the 14th of August. So 4 days, wild camping-esque, festival-esque experience with all the precautions in place. Journeying from boy to elder, so you can do man shit, you can build shit, make shit, sit by fires, eat good food, have some good conversations, and to be in a place where you can be held, like, and just be witnessed for who you are,
Yeah.
away from pressures of a woman's eyes, and you can be on land, like have your feet on the earth, being one of the most grounding experiences, be away from technology, and just like, let's do some man shit. Do you know what I mean?
I love that. Let's do some man shit. Listen, we're going to put all of your contact details next to this video. When this is
Amazing.
posted, we shall do exactly the same thing. We shall make sure that all your connection details are with it too. Thank you so much
Gratitude.
for spending time with me today. Thank you
It's
so
been a
much for
true
being
honor.
part of the tribe. I can't wait to speak to you about the other part of your life, the other place.
Indeed. Indeed.
In the 10 days time or something, isn't it? Maybe next week. But yeah, just thanks. And I'm really proud to have watched the journey that you've been on.
Gratitude.
And I am really excited to see this kind of evolution, and everything that you bring from every part of life excites me right now. So
fills me up
it's
with deep gratitude.
I know that there are people within the Tip the Balance community that you can help, not only the clients, but I know within that community of partners as well. So yeah, just a massive thank you for being part of it. And I can't wait for people to start connecting.
Bless up. Thank you so much.
I will see you soon, dude. Take care.
Right. Peace and love. Bye bye.